Wins. Santa Maria will put up a three. Bang! Santa Maria.
Here's Warner. Here comes a headed jam. Counted for two. Field.
Located in Brownsville, Texas, outside of Old Price Road. You take that exit and you'll find it right here. After you take a hard right here. Anyways, we had a lot to talk about as we've had, of course, a week break, but we've had a lot of things, really just high school volleyball. UTR counting down the days till the college soccer season also begins. Came out this morning. All the news will make sense, of course, since it came out this morning that the FC Dallas U23s, and the reason, of course, why they ended up doing that friendly is pretty interesting. I've talked about it before. We'll talk more about, of course, this second season of sorts for this team, the third year of TSC. That's going to be magazines, football, of course. So it should be a bit about a lot to discuss here. It's going to be very exciting. We start things off with Rio Sports Live magazine, the high school, the head coach coming back, and of course what to expect. Well, so that's always an exciting thing to think about. We're looking forward to this season of football, and a lot is in store for Rio Sports Live Network. We've talked about it before with Rio Sports Live. None to cover it from Valley will be at home. To say the least. And Pioneer, so I actually got that wrong. It's a good thing for them. Then, of course, you advance on to a bigger picture. What is the bigger picture for us? Here with Friday coaching and get to start practicing officially. Yes, of course, we still have one more day of play for something that I'll have to grab. Hopefully people are there. Anyways, so very exciting stuff. I can't to look up when the practice when for basically every school will most likely, a lot of them will have Midnight Madness. So what does that mean? Sunday, you get to, and it's off the bat, and that's exciting because like I mentioned and like I read, a lot of the games, a lot of the teams, they start practice not only, which is of course just to get themselves acclimated and ready. And so it's around the corner, everybody. And why I bring all of that up is because we have in the magazine for you Allen High School, Rio Grande Valley. We're going to take a quick little break. When we return, we will have more talk for you all. This time we will switch gears to soccer talk. We'll be right back after this. Stay tuned.
This summer, settle in and reconnect with one another. South Padre Island has so many great places to stay. Condos, resorts, and hotels. Oh my! Book your summer getaway today. And start making memories poolside with the people you care about most. Visit SoPadre.com.
Elevation, AT4, AT4X, Denali. Case closed. Fruia GMC, we're professional grade.
here. This is our home. Take a look at what we do.
At San Benito Vision Source, the optometry staff works around your busy schedule and take the time to answer your questions and concerns prior to a visit. Dr. Jaime Rodriguez and Dr. Laura Loki offering full vision examinations, diagnostics, and treatment of an array of eye diseases and conditions to keep your eyes healthy. Call the friendly staff today with questions or schedule a consultation. San Benito Vision Source.
Sunny Glen Children's Home has been.
So back live we go once again here from Luke Fruia, Buick GMC and Cadillac, or Cadillac, right off of Old Price Road. You take that exit over here and they'll take great care of you all, and indeed like. So moving on, we move on to one of the best things to really talk about. In my opinion, it's been the best thing to talk about because Young's Real Sports Live Network. That's a given. That's happened. One of the biggest things that really ended up kind of happening that, well, of course, stirred everyone the wrong way for soccer here in the Rio Grande Valley is how it ended up. Shouldn't have folded the way that they did, but it happened. And that's just one of the things that, unfortunately, you play the game. Talking about this whole situation was that, of course, the Toros and the way that they folded, the bad ownership, the horrific everything about that team, just the way that it was handled. Well, then we move on 2-3 years down the line, maybe a year or so down the line. All of a sudden, I get told there's soccer being back in the RGV. If the RGV thing is situated and set. If a soccer club operates in the summertime and only the summertime, they are officially called a semi-professional soccer team. And I get told this in February, late February, and all this fun stuff, and, as a broadcaster. And so yes, there's been a team called the Explorers in of a very tiny portion of Brownsville. To somebody else named Texas Southmost College. That's all the difference of this club. So who they played against and all of this fun players that the RGV Red Crowns were able to get. They were able to get Zach Hargreaves, a man from out of state, out of the nation, lived in England for most of his life. Comes over here, gets his degree, does all of this crazy, awesome stuff, which was phenomenal. I absolutely loved having Zach Hargreaves and these players around that weren't from Texas, because the team wanted to win. And with the team wanting to win, you had this opportunity to make sure that happened by signing these players. Jamal Colby Fayad did a phenomenal job in the first ever season signing these players. He signed Vicente Alvarez, was the first signing. He scores the first goal. JC Alvarez in at goal was phenomenal. Then you have this man, Zach Hargreaves, at midfield doing a phenomenal job. He signs another goalkeeper named Jack Crichton, who played a couple of matches for the RGV Red Crowns. He was from England as well. Then you had a couple of other players that played for UTRGV, but the difference was they weren't necessarily from the Valley. They were recruited out of state. And so that was a major, major component into the winning mentality. Everyone bought into the system, and it was game on basically from the start. And sure enough, the RGV Red Crowns, they were able to win several games. They lost their first match at home. They lost their first match, I should say, on the road. They win their first match at home in a historic fashion. Then all of a sudden, the second match at home, they end up losing this time. And then the third match, it was kind of back and forth. They win on the road. They sweep on the road. They get technically 9 points on the road in the span of 2 weeks. That was a massive result for this team. It looked like everything was on the up and up. Then they lose at home Unfortunately, two teams don't show up to their game, so they were technically forfeited. That was a big situation indeed. So all of this fun stuff ended up happening for this RGV Red Crown team. It ended up working out in the end for the RGV Red Crowns. And so that was something pretty interesting in general. The RGV Red Crowns able to have a solid foundation to start off for their second season, building a fan base that was really, really good. It was very impressive. Once again, the RGV Red Crowns averaging close to around 3,000 fans per home match, which for a semi-professional soccer team, that's something unprecedented for a first year. And then let's tell you about, of course, their last match. It ended up being a friendly because they missed the playoffs and having unfortunate luck with two teams, of course, from Dallas not showing up. Well, this time a Dallas team for the second time shows up and gets to play a friendly against them. That was FC Dallas U23 Academy, which was pretty interesting indeed. The FC Dallas U23 Academy, of course, at that time were facing off in the regional championship of the league for clubs. But they're an academy, so they have enough players to fill up another roster, send down, and play against this side, which was pretty impressive against this RGV Red Crown side. That was a different team as well, because a lot of the players, if not all of them, had already gone back up to college or potentially in the professional ranks, which again, a lot of players had that opportunity to do exactly that, which was phenomenal. So really happy for this team. And the RGV Red Crowns, that different team, was an unforgettable first half. Sorry, a forgettable first half and unforgettable second half. In the early goings, all FC Dallas U23s had to do an outswinging ball left to the left wing, able to control it, gets it inside the box, takes a strike. It's 1-0 at about 20 minutes gone. Then it was 2-0 before the first hydration break, and then after the hydration break, the RGV Red Crowns get a free kick just outside the box, and it's going to be almost a corner kick, kind of, sort of, off the outside, the right side of the box. Gets it inside, and it looks like it gets deflected in the back of the net. All of a sudden, 2-1 is your halftime score. You go into the second half, the RGV Red Crowns down 2-1. Seemed like a different team in that second half, dominating a little bit more of the possession, having an opportunity. Sure enough, gets a PK called, and it is 2-2 a little later on as it buries it bottom left corner back in the net. Then, very late into this match, we're talking, I believe, maybe 5 or so minutes left. It was not a lot of time left. The RGV Red Crowns somehow, some way, get another PK, another penalty opportunity. 2 PKs in one match, and guess what? The RGV Red Crowns, they bury it another time, a second time. Gets the ball, puts the ball in the back of the net. It is 3-2. This team comes back from 2 goals down and ends up winning 3-2 in a friendly. It was called the Texans Helping Texans friendly, and it was really interesting because all the funds from the match ended up going to, of course, the Kerr County floods, which were absolutely devastating, but coming together to do exactly that was just a phenomenal way. Fireworks after the match. It was something absolutely special for this first season of packed house for that friendly as well. The fans showed up, and it was absolutely phenomenal. Had a blast covering the RGV Red Crowns this season with the help of Jamal Colby Fayad, my color commentator, Edson Ochoa. It was just a blast to be able to cover this team, and I know that I'll be back next season because there's so much more for this story to be written for this team. It was funny, at the start of this season, I should say, I was calling this team a little bit of like Disney season because it was a phenomenal season for the RGV Red Crowns because they were able to really show up when they needed to the most. right at the end of the season to really cap off a massive, massive victory, even though it was just a... Here's what the big news ended up happening this morning. I'd known this for a while, that the club was looking for a sister team, kind of, and it was going to be interesting who would they decide to go with and things like that. Well, Jamal Colby Fayad, he has a lot of connections everywhere, especially in England. So across the pond, the team went looking for a sister club, and all of a sudden, reaching out to a club named Bury FC. Let me tell you all a little bit about Bury FC. Bury FC, they come from none other than a phenomenal little thing. Bury Football Club, nicknamed the Shakers, is an English football club currently competing in the Northwest Counties Football League Premier Division, which is Step 9 in the English Football League system. It was founded in 1885 and played at Gig Lane for 140 years. Bury FC was expelled from the English Football League, EFL, in 2019 due to financial difficulties. A merger between Bury AFC and Bury FC allowed football to return to Gig Lane. The club is now fan-owned and has seen resurgence, achieving promotion and breaking attendance records for their level. So very interesting. Just a little bit, again, the level for soccer and all that is pretty interesting in general in the, I guess, and right under that is League 2. Then you go to non-league football, which ends up being, well, non-league is what it's called. And then so that's whatever, Division 6 or something like that, and then it goes a little further down, and all of a sudden you reach the 9th division. And it's pretty interesting. So the RGV Red Crowns, they reached out to this team. And sure enough, they had somebody that was down there helping out and able to all of a sudden get that opportunity. And sure enough, with that, Bury FC and the RGV Red Crown Soccer Club have officially partnered up and are now a team. Even Bury FC saying this: we were proud to welcome Leo Salinas from Rio Grande Valley Red Crowns in South Texas as our guest for the match against Wayne Athletic last night. Thank you, Leo, for your support and for making the journey. Your passion for football rings greater. It gets a little more known as we kind of get what we were trying to say. We're proud to announce our official sister club partnership with Bury FC. 2 clubs, 2 countries, one shared belief that when a community gets behind its club, anything is possible. Yesterday, our staff had the honor of meeting at Bury's historic home stadium, Gig Lane, a place rebuilt by the people for the people. It was a powerful reminder of what this game means when community comes first. From the this season, let's show the world what grassroots football can become. And so that's exactly what it was made, or that's exactly why this club's trying to do it, trying to be globally known, trying to be regionally known, and all of that fun stuff. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we'll stick with football, but we'll move on. We'll stick with soccer, and we'll move on to talking a little bit about Texas Southmost College. But that was a very important thing to really talk about. RGV Red Crowns have officially partnered with none other than Bury FC. We'll be right back after this.
Child since 1936. If you'd like more information on Sunny Glen and the services we offer, please visit us at www.sunnyglen.org.
South Padre Island. Enjoy endless activities for all ages. Then dance the night away with live music. Savor fresh seafood and discover unique food trucks and shop our charming boutiques. What are you waiting for? Escape the everyday at South Padre Island.
Academic success. Sherryland ISD. Excellence is our tradition.
When you study local at Texas Southmost College, you can choose from over 50 associate degree programs, certificates, and workforce training programs, all at the most affordable cost in the Rio Grande Valley. Transfer your TSC credits to a university or start a new career, like Kat Gomez, who graduated from TSC and is now patrolling the streets of Brownsville and serving her community. Register now at tsc.edu/register and study local at Texas Southmost College.
At San Benito Vision Source, the optometry staff works around your busy schedule and take the time to answer your questions and concerns prior to a visit. Dr. Jaime Rodriguez and Dr. Laura Loki offering full vision examinations, diagnostics, and treatment of an array of eye diseases and conditions to keep your eyes healthy. Call the friendly staff today with questions or schedule a consultation. San Benito Vision Source.
This summer, it's time for mimosas and brunch with the girls. A beachside lunch with the kiddos. Delicious Bayside burgers. And world-famous fried shrimp with a cold one. South Padre Island has your breakfast, lunch, and dinner plans covered. Book your summer getaway today. Visit sopadre.com.
Truck Techs in Harlingen is your source for lift.
Back live we go once again here as well. It's always an exciting time. Back live from Luke Fruia Motors, Buick GMC, and Cadillac. I'm Jacob Young, Rio Sports Live Network. And like I mentioned, it's an exciting time as we get closer and closer to, well, August 1st. What is August 1st? Well, that's the start of volleyball season, meaning that's the official day that volleyball teams can officially practice with their coach. That's when practice gets to start. August 5th, well, that is practice for football. And what does that mean? Well, it's the official practice starting dates. If any teams were to break that in UIL rules, well, I don't know what would end up happening, but of course it would not be great, and that's why those rules are in place. And it's always exciting for these players and coaches to get back out onto the field, onto the hardwood court, and just be able to practice finally. And so, of course, I bring that up because, well, we have none other than the Rio Sports Live magazine coming out here very, very soon. And that will be very exciting. Again, 80 teams in the magazine, at least, from also some flag football teams, but you have none other than, well, from Progresso High School to Brownsville Hanna, from Marine Military Academy to McAllen Memorial, McAllen High School, Nicky Rowe, Pioneer, Sherryland High School, Mercedes. The list goes on and on for all these high schools being featured in the magazine for football, and also we will have ourselves a volleyball magazine too. So stay tuned for all of that exciting stuff coming out here. Now, Of course, we mentioned that we would be talking about Texas Southmost College. We will do exactly that right now. Texas Southmost College, well, they start their soccer season not too far from now, and it's going to be, well, an interesting one for them. This is their third official season here in the National Junior College Athletics Association, the NJCAA. And what does the NJCAA, well, mean? It's junior college athletics. It's the step below the NCAA, which, of course, we all know the NCAA slowly but surely losing their credibility in the grand scheme of things. Of course, the NJCAA a little bit different. Now, for TSC, what conference do they find themselves in for? None other than soccer. Well, they find themselves in this conference with Blinn College University, of course, Blinn College. They find themselves with Angelina College. They find themselves with a new team that has joined this conference, the Louisiana State University Eunice team, which is pretty interesting in general. That team replaces Jacksonville College. Jacksonville College no longer in this college, of course, as well as none other than with no other than, well, Jacksonville College, of course, eliminated and then or out of it with Coastal Bend College. That's what I was trying to think of. Coastal Bend College has officially, of course, stayed with it, but that's more on the men's side than the women's side, because I don't believe Coastal Bend College has themselves a women's soccer team, but that should be all the teams that are in the conference. Pretty interesting third year, and on this third year, there is not a single player that is from out of the valley, which is interesting, to say the least. You all have known my take on this. You have to recruit out of state, even if it's a couple of players, or out of the valley, even if it's a couple of players find on the transfer market or something. I don't understand it. But this is the third year, and my opinion to this is really simple. Texas Southmost College have to find themselves having a winning season, not a season where they're automatically guaranteed a spot in the NJCAA tournament, because I believe that's guaranteed on the women's side. But on just in general, having themselves over 500, if not, I really do believe things do need to change fundamentally at Texas Southmost College, recruiting-wise and other things. Because I do believe that this team is getting better. This program's getting better. It is their third year, their third season, but it honestly did feel like a drop-off last year for TSC. I'm not going to lie. Going to be blatantly honest. The first year, yes, of course, you could tell that there was some pickup on the players. But really, when you think about it, I don't know. It just felt like a bit of a drop-off in my eyes, and it stinks. But I really do believe fundamentally the TSC Scorpions can find themselves a winning season. Maybe not necessarily this year. Because let me tell you something, this program can be good enough to fight for a chance at doing well. But let's also remember this. Texas Southmost College have not once hit the top 25 rankings in the NJCAA. They have not once hit the top 25 in rankings, both on the men's and women's side. That is a testament to how difficult it is to be successful in National Junior College Athletics Association. But as well, this team has to get players. Remember, they're staying locally. That's good. But at the same time, after a while, you have to think future. How will we be recognized nationally? Or how will you be recognized on the next level? Because that's where Texas Southmost College are lacking the most. Recruiting. They are so far behind, it's not even funny on recruiting. They recruit in the Valley, that's great. But that's not where they need to just be recruiting. They need to be recruiting potentially in Mexico. If not in Mexico, of course, it's very, very difficult. That's a whole other story that I can get, or a whole other thing that I can get into for hours and hours on it, is that Mexico, they have their own system. And what is that system, you may ask? Well, it's pretty simple. The Red Crowns found this out pretty easily. Is that most of the players that are from Mexico, they want to go and play pro right out of high school. Or they're in the academy, the U23s or whatever, right off the get-go too in that academy, so they're able to climb up. And we saw that, of course, with Progresso and other players like that. So, okay, you can drop that on that side. Maybe not necessarily go back, but outside of the RGV, there are players that will be willing to come down to the RGV and play. Again, we've seen it. We've seen it time and time again. The Red Crowns have proven that that is a case. That is definitely a case that players would love to come down if the culture is right. If the culture can be bought in very easily. And right now, it does not seem like that. It seems like there's something missing at the TSC level where they can be so much better than they are. I think they'll have a fine year, but they can have a great and a better year if they just decide to look outside of the Rio Grande Valley, continue to, let me be clear, continue to recruit down here. But get your captains, get your gems a little bit further up. Try and compete with Blinn College. Get a cup, maybe get a recruit or two that was going to Blinn College but saw an opportunity to come down to the TSC. Let me tell you a little bit about one player. There's a player from none other than McAllen Memorial Girls Soccer. She has committed to go play at Blinn College. She could have been a perfect addition for Texas Southmost College to be gotten. But I don't believe she ever looked down here because I don't know she was ever recruited by Texas Southmost College to begin with. So TSC are overlooking a lot of players, how it feels or how it looks on the outside looking in. TSC have one of the most brutal schedules, I would say, this season. They will play at Tyler College, or play at home against Tyler College. They will play on the road at Paris College and then go up to Mount Pleasant. They have beaten Mount Pleasant before. That's not the biggest issue as well. Then, of course, there are even some scrimmages, some friendlies, as we call them, where they play against Texas A&M International University. They play against none other than University of Houston Victoria, which I believe has just about officially changed their name. If not this year, will be next year, where they will rebrand out of the Houston Cougars red and rebrand into the Texas A&M maroon. That is actually the truth that is coming out, or that is actually news that is coming out from that, of course, school. And I believe Texas A&M San Antonio as well, they will head up to Texas A&M San Antonio to play them in a friendly. So that's a lot, of course, to talk about. It's very exciting. Stay tuned for a lot more from, of course, the from TSC, as I believe we will be covering them a little bit more this season, at least for a coach's show, which will be very exciting indeed. Then, of course, you move on, and just this team, I believe, can be so much more successful than they are. Please, please, please prove me wrong that this team can not only go 500, but make history and find themselves in the top 25 nationally ranked TSC on the men's and the women's side, so that they can shut me up as well, because in reality it's just one of those situations where I'm looking at everything that I have. I'm looking at the research and I'm seeing the players that Blinn College are able to get for the season, and I'm looking at players that other teams are able to get this season, other colleges I should say, and then I'm looking at Texas Southmost College, and they're good players, but it's nothing that makes me jump out of my seat and go, this is the player that's going to make the biggest difference. Because I talked about it before. The women's game is much different than the men's game. I've seen it firsthand here in the Rio Grande Valley. McCallum Memorial, Mackay, Lady Bulldogs, the two best teams in the RGV on the girls' soccer side, still cannot get out of the regional semis or regional finals and get to state. The reason being the competition level is so fierce. Players that are 5'10", players that are built differently up in the San Antonio ranks. Like I said, TSC can get a couple of those players on their side for even women's soccer. It's going to be phenomenal. Men's side, yes, you go to Austin United, you have a little bit more height there. And so my whole point is bringing a couple of those players, bringing a player from overseas, something like that into this match, into this team. I really do believe that they can recruit and attract those players to come down and play for TSC. This is before the season has started. I'm looking forward to it, of course, but it's going to be interesting. Moving on, of course, well, we've talked a little, or we hinted a little bit about it. Of course, UTRGV, they're not too far away from their first home game. If anyone's been keeping up with the, I guess, kind of season, or not season, but just the preseason for UTRGV football, and the schedule, of course, all their home games are going to be at 7:30. Their first home game is, I believe, officially going to be a sellout. There are people selling their tickets for $300+, which is pretty interesting. And I'll say this again, like I did. Have fun at those games. Be, of course, responsible at those games, but it's their first ever game. It's going to be their first ever season. UTRGV's FCS. They are playing against teams that are established programs. They've been established programs since I was a kid. Most of these teams that they're playing against, Prairie View A&M, I think, was a school and had a football program when my parents were in school. That's the whole thing. They are established. These teams that they will play against are established. This is their first year. They're on probation. They have no chance of making the postseason anyways. So, what does that mean? No one that's realistic for the UTRGV Vaqueros this season will expect a 6-win, 7-win, 8-win season. Expect probably 3 wins. It's not going to be bad. There may be some games that will be horrible to watch. But other than that, this is their first year to get under their belt. Then second year, we'll see. Remember, the head coach is a former high school head coach. Has not coached in college. This is his start. This is his chance. So, okay. And like I said, just be realistic. Enjoy the games. I'm sure the games will be fun. But I don't expect wins right off the bat. 3-win season will be fine. 4-win season will be pretty good. 5-win season would be impressive in my eyes. For a first year, 5 wins, it would be an impressive season for the start. Because this would give them a lot of balance and a lot of things of, okay, this is what to expect. Now we can do this, now we can do that, now we can recruit this way, now we can recruit that way, and be different. Because remember, the whole point of FCS is to see where you can be. Can you get to a point of a James Madison? Can you get to a point of a North Dakota State? Can you get to a point of a Delaware State? Like all these teams that have made it to FBS, except of course North Dakota State will not make that move. Don't know why still. Sam Houston, can you make that jump like Sam Houston did, or will you be that good? That's my whole point of just, it's going to be a long, lengthy process And I'm here for that long, lengthy process. Again, I was a kid when UTRGV baseball were not great. I was a kid when UTRGV basketball weren't great. Remember, there were teams before I was born for UTRGV basketball. Of course, they were called UTPA at the time, University of Texas Pan Am. But my whole point is that's kind of the same deal. Of just they're growing and growing, and it's going to take time. These are going to be growing pain seasons for the first probably 3. And then we'll see about the 4th season if they'll be competitive. It's going to be little things like that. And that's okay. That is okay in the whole thing. Just remember, it's going to be a long process, but it's going to be an exciting process, and this first season is going to be proven. Now, the only, of course, thing we've all talked about it is they changed the HEB Park to turf. I don't know why they did that. They had perfectly good grass there that they could have maintained very well. Turf fields are the enemy and the epitome of ACL injuries. That's why I do not like turf in the slightest. But, of course, we're just about to end this show. We'll go on, of course, not a break. We still have 5 minutes, but now, of course, our opportunity to move into talking about racing. Of course, we had talked about it not too long ago. Samantha Tan Racing, of course, had a phenomenal showing at her home race. At their home race in Canada at Mosport, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, had a success. This weekend is at Road America. I don't believe that the VP Racing Sports Car Challenge, VP Racing Fuel Sports Car Challenge will be racing this weekend. I could be completely wrong. No, they are missing this weekend. Will be at VIR for the Michelin GT Challenge at VIR on August 22nd through the August 24th. So this weekend, of course, was more basic. It will be, of course, a short distance race, about a 2-hour sprint race or so for the WeatherTech Endurance Racing Series, the WeatherTech IMSA Racing Series to be exact, which consists, of course, of the GTPs, the LMP2s, the GTD Pros, and the GTDs. GTD Pros just means it's a full pro driver lineup, and the GTDs means that it's a mixture of pro and pro-am, which is very exciting. Pro-am being like a silver or almost bronze class in a way because, well, of course, that's kind of how it works. But we are very excited. I'm very excited about that race weekend because not VIR, but Road America is one of my favorite race circuits in the world in general. There's a lot of great racing circuits, but this one takes the cake just because it is one of the most fan-friendly race circuits on Earth, located in none other than beautiful Elkhart Lake. And it is a legit racing paradise, is the best way to put it. So very excited about this season, or very excited about this race. Of course, we didn't necessarily talk too much about the GTPs, but Cadillac Racing, of course, they'll be, well, in engineering, they'll be there and hoping to get another victory. Of course, their last one was a bit ago, is my whole point. And Cadillac looking to try and turn the tide, as Porsche have really dominated this season in the GTP field. Even Porsche and GTDs have kind of taken off as well. The Porsche 911 GT3 has done a pretty good job in LMP, or in the GTD field. And of course, for Porsche Penske, they've taken the cake really in the IMSA, really in the top IMSA league, and we've talked a little bit about it as well. One of the biggest news circling this series right now comes at an interesting time. BMW have decided to leave, or BMW and Rahal Lanigan Racing have officially decided to part ways, which is pretty interesting at the end of the season. So no more BMW for that team. It's been a partnership for a long time, and so that's going to be very interesting to see who will replace them and where BMW goes from here in IMSA. As well, it just seems like IMSA, or not IMSA, but BMW have been struggling. Their last victory in IMSA was the Battle of Bricks last year, which was a pretty interestingly fun race because of the mixed conditions that they had. So it was very interesting in general. So, of course, it's going to be very fun. That sprint race is going to be absolutely phenomenal, and I'm looking forward to this race this weekend. Of course, one of the also fun races that normally follow for a good amount of the season with the IMSA WeatherTech Endurance Series is none other than the beautiful Michelin Pilot Challenge. What does the Michelin Pilot Challenge have in store? Well, they call the classes GSX class, which basically just means the GT4 cars. You're talking the Porsche Cayman GT4 to the Mercedes, more road cars to be exact, with lower horsepower, BMW GT4, which is pretty cool, and of course, Martin's Vantage GT4, the Mustang Dark Horse GT4 car, the one that's road car has less horsepower, the one that you would see in the Mustang series, I would say. And so it's very exciting, it's very fun. It's a great series and always looking forward to it. Anyways, we just passed an hour, I just noticed that. But yes, good luck to all those racers. Good luck to Matty Austin, Brian Hurd Autosport, and Bryson Morris, and all those drivers who, of course, at one point were a part of none other than Smethtown Racing for this weekend. That's going to be fun. And, well, like I said, next week we will be in full swing for football and volleyball mode. So